What does it cost to build something truly extraordinary? Not millions, but billions. Sometimes hundreds of billions of dollars invested into a single ambitious vision that will reshape nations and define generations. From tunnels burrowed deep beneath the ocean floor to massive highway networks spanning entire nations, from space stations orbiting silently above Earth to artificial islands rising impossibly from the sea, humanity has invested unimaginable sums of money, countless hours of labor, and tremendous amounts of resources to push the boundaries of what's possible and redefine what engineering can achieve. Today, we're counting down the top 10 most expensive construction projects ever built in human history. These aren't just structures made of steel, concrete, and ambition. They're monuments to human determination, engineering brilliance, political will, economic power, and sometimes very costly mistakes that spiraled far beyond original projections and initial budgets. The price tags will absolutely shock you. The engineering challenges will amaze you. The stories behind them will inspire you, frustrate you, and make you question what's truly worth building and whether these massive investments delivered value proportional to their enormous costs. So buckle up and prepare yourself, because we're about to explore billions upon billions of dollars in construction spending across projects that shaped the modern world. Let's begin this incredible journey through human ambition and achievement. Number 10. The Channel Tunnel, $22.4 billion. The underground Channel Tunnel, affectionately and universally known as the Channel by millions of travelers, stretches an impressive 31.4 miles between the southern coast of England and the northern coast of France, running deep beneath the English Channel in what was once considered an absolutely impossible engineering feat that had been attempted and abandoned multiple times throughout history. It features 3 separate parallel tunnels running side by side beneath the seabed, 2 dedicated tunnels for freight and passenger traffic running in opposite directions to maintain continuous flow, and 1 smaller service tunnel dedicated to security, maintenance, emergency services, and ventilation systems that keep the main tunnels safe and operational. 15 French and British companies came together to privately finance this massive $22.4 billion megaproject, which exceeded original budget expectations by a staggering 80% due to escalating demands for enhanced safety measures, increased security protocols following terrorism concerns, and stricter environmental protection requirements that weren't fully anticipated or budgeted for in initial planning stages. Massive tunnel boring machines, some of the largest ever constructed for any project, began their slow, methodical excavating work in 1988, drilling through chalk marl beneath the seabed at depths reaching 250 feet below the ocean floor. The tunnel finally began full commercial operations in 1994 after 6 years of intensive, dangerous construction work. The construction came at a tragic human cost. 10 workers died during the perilous underground construction phase, a sobering reminder that engineering marvels often require human sacrifice and that safety protocols cannot eliminate all risks. The tunnel boasts the longest continuous undersea portion of any tunnel in the world, running approximately 23.5 miles beneath the seabed. The engineering achievement was so technically impressive, innovative, and culturally significant that the American Society of Civil Engineers officially recognized it as one of the 7 wonders of the modern world, placing it alongside legendary structures like the Panama Canal and Golden Gate Bridge. Today, sleek high-speed Eurostar trains whisk passengers between London and Paris in just over 2 hours at speeds reaching 186 miles per hour through the tunnel, and millions of tons of commercial freight pass through annually via specialized shuttle trains, making it a critical and irreplaceable link in European transportation infrastructure and international commerce. Number 9. The Big Dig, $23.1 billion. The Big Dig project involved the monumentally complex and disruptive task of rerouting several major highways and arterial roads in the Boston metropolitan area, and it ultimately cost American taxpayers an absolutely eye-watering $23.1 billion, making it one of the most expensive urban infrastructure projects in world history and a cautionary tale about cost estimation. Planning for this ambitious urban renewal project began way back in 1982 when Boston's elevated Central Artery, a highway cutting directly through downtown, had become a congested, ugly scar dividing neighborhoods and limiting economic development. The actual construction work was carried out between 1991 and 2006, spanning 15 years of disruptive urban construction that frustrated commuters and businesses. The project officially concluded on December 31, 2007, over 10 years behind its original ambitious schedule and costing billions upon billions of dollars more than originally projected or promised to taxpayers and voters. The Big Dig holds the unfortunate and somewhat embarrassing distinction of being the single most expensive highway project in United States history, and it was plagued throughout its duration by seemingly endless, overlapping problems that became national news. Massive cost overruns that multiplied the budget several times over, years of construction delays that extended completion dates repeatedly, tunnel leaks that required expensive emergency repairs, serious design flaws that had to be corrected mid-construction at great expense, credible charges of poor execution and deliberate use of substandard materials by contractors seeking higher profits, multiple criminal arrests of construction company executives for fraud and corruption, and most tragically, one preventable death in 2006 when a concrete ceiling panel weighing 12 tons collapsed in a connector tunnel, crushing a car and killing the passenger inside. Despite all the legitimate controversy, negative publicity, and justified public criticism, the project ultimately did achieve most of its stated goals and delivered real benefits, dramatically reducing traffic congestion on Boston's Central Artery by adding lanes and improving flow, significantly improving highway safety through better design and sightlines, creating valuable new green space and parks in downtown Boston by burying the previously elevated and visually oppressive Central Artery highway underground, and opening up waterfront areas that had been cut off from the city for decades by elevated highways. Number 8. Apollo Space Program, $25.4 billion. The Apollo Space Program, including the absolutely historic 1969 moon landing accomplished by the Apollo 11 lunar module and its brave three-man crew, cost $25.4 billion in 1960s dollars, equivalent to well over $150 billion in today's inflated currency when adjusted for decades of inflation, and remains one of humanity's greatest technological achievements and most audacious expenditures of national treasure in peacetime. President John F. Kennedy's bold and unexpected 1961 declaration before a joint session of Congress that America would commit itself to landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to Earth before this decade is outsparked tremendous governmental study and review, unprecedented expenditure of national resources and treasure, an extraordinary coordinated effort by hundreds of thousands of engineers, scientists, technicians, and support personnel working for NASA and private contractors to make this seemingly impossible goal a reality by the end of 1969. It was finally and triumphantly accomplished on July 20th, 1969, when Apollo 11 astronaut Neil Armstrong carefully descended the ladder from the lunar module Eagle and became the first human being in history to set foot on the surface of another celestial body, uttering the now immortal words that have echoed through history and defined human achievement. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Watched live on television by an estimated 600 million people worldwide. The Apollo program ultimately involved 6 successful crewed moon landings between 1969 and 1972. Apollo 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, and 17, bringing back invaluable lunar rock samples and scientific data that revolutionized our understanding of the moon's formation, composition, and relationship to Earth, while inspiring entire generations of scientists, engineers, and dreamers worldwide, and demonstrating American technological superiority and organizational capability during the height of the tense Cold War competition with the Soviet Union. The program employed over 400,000 people at its peak across the United States and contracted with over 20,000 companies and universities, creating high-paying jobs, advancing technology in countless fields from computing to material science, and pushing the boundaries of what humans could achieve when united by a common, ambitious goal backed by political will and adequate funding. Number 7. Kansai International Airport, $29 billion. Located in Osaka, Japan's second largest and most commercially important city after Tokyo, Kansai International Airport cost an absolutely astronomical $29 billion to design, engineer, and construct, making it one of the most expensive airports ever built anywhere in the world and a testament to Japanese engineering prowess. Planning for this ambitious new airport commenced way back in the 1960s when Osaka city officials and business leaders became increasingly concerned about the city losing crucial trade, business, and economic dominance to rival Tokyo, which had superior airport infrastructure and better international connections that were attracting corporations and investment. The engineering solution they developed was audacious and unprecedented in scale. Build the entire airport facility in the water rather than on scarce land, resting the massive structure on a specially constructed man-made island in Osaka Bay, created by dumping 180 million cubic meters of landfill. This offshore location was strategically chosen for multiple important reasons. To provide maximum resistance against the frequent powerful earthquakes that regularly shake Japan, to avoid potentially devastating tidal wave damage that could destroy a land-based coastal airport, and to completely eliminate noise complaints from residential areas. All absolutely critical concerns in densely populated Japan, where every piece of land is precious and environmental regulations are strict. The airport was specifically and carefully engineered to withstand the absolute worst natural disasters Japan could experience, and it has successfully endured both absolutely devastating typhoons with winds exceeding 100 miles per hour and major earthquakes measuring over 6.0 on the Richter scale since it opened for operations, dramatically proving the wisdom of the expensive and initially controversial design choices that critics questioned. Part of the enormous multi-billion-dollar price tag went specifically towards designing and installing thousands upon thousands of adjustable hydraulic metal support columns and other sophisticated structural pieces and monitoring systems designed to prevent the artificial island from gradually sinking into the soft seabed underneath. A constant and serious engineering challenge that requires continuous monitoring and regular adjustment as the island slowly settles under its own weight. A second passenger terminal was added in 2012 at significant additional cost and is connected to the original Terminal 1 via a free shuttle bus service that runs every few minutes, further expanding the airport's passenger handling capacity and operational efficiency to serve growing international traffic. Number 6. California High-Speed Rail, $33 billion plus. Work on the long-promised and politically controversial California high-speed rail finally started in 2015 after literally years of heated debate, environmental reviews, and planning disputes, and Phase 1 is currently scheduled to be completed by 2029. Though industry experts and critics alike believe that deadline will not actually be met given the project's troubled history and ongoing problems. The project is already way over its original $33 billion budget estimate that voters approved and is now projected to reach an absolutely astronomical $98.5 billion or potentially even higher depending on continued delays, rising land acquisition costs, legal challenges, and unforeseen engineering challenges that seem to emerge regularly. The first operational phase is planned to run between the cities of Madera and Bakersfield in California's agricultural Central Valley, neither a major population center. And the overall project was prominently featured as one of President Barack Obama's signature first-term infrastructure pledges to modernize America by connecting major U.S. cities by modern high-speed rail comparable to successful systems in Europe and Asia. when eventually completed. If it's ever fully completed as originally envisioned, the high-speed bullet train system will stretch between San Francisco in Northern California and Los Angeles in Southern California, a distance of about 500 miles, running on specially designed and maintained rails that can support sustained travel speeds up to 220 miles per hour, directly comparable to successful high-speed rail systems currently operating efficiently in Japan, France, Spain, and China that move millions of passengers quickly and reliably. However, the entire project has been absolutely mired in controversy from the very beginning and faces opposition on multiple fronts. Intense political opposition from Republicans who see it as wasteful government spending, and some Democrats concerned about costs, massive cost overruns that seem to grow with each new official estimate. Endless construction delays caused by environmental reviews and lawsuits from property owners, and persistent serious questions about whether the ultimate benefits to California residents and the state economy actually justify the enormous and ever-growing price tag that could potentially top $100 billion or more. Number 5. Dubai Island, $76 billion plus. When Dubai Land was first announced with great fanfare and international media coverage in 2003, it was immediately recognized as one of the most ambitious leisure, entertainment, and tourism developments ever proposed anywhere in the world by any government or private developer. It's not even close to complete yet after nearly 2 decades, and it's already secured its place as one of the most expensive construction projects in human history and a symbol of Dubai's ambition. The ambitious reasoning behind Dubai Land was that government planners and private developers thought Dubai desperately needed a major family-oriented attraction to complement its existing business tourism, luxury shopping, and high-end hotel infrastructure that primarily attracted wealthy adults, but not families with children. The elaborate master plan included extensive design aspects based on traditional Arabian folklore and Islamic culture and history, plus highly ambitious plans for a full Disney theme park, a massive IMAX theater, numerous water parks, world-class sports facilities and stadiums, extensive retail districts, and literally dozens of other planned attractions spread across the enormous site. The original grand vision called for developing an area approximately twice the total size of Walt Disney World in Florida, covering 278 square kilometers, which would have made Dubai Land the largest tourism, leisure, and entertainment destination on the entire planet by a significant margin and transformed Dubai's tourism industry. Construction was abruptly and completely halted on this mega project in 2008 due to the devastating global financial crisis that began with the U.S. subprime mortgage collapse, which hit Dubai's overheated and over-leveraged real estate market particularly hard, causing property values to crash by 50% or more and financing to completely dry up overnight. Work eventually resumed in 2013 as the economy slowly recovered and investor confidence returned, though on a much smaller, more modest, and financially realistic scale than originally envisioned during the boom years. Original optimistic estimates predicted that Dubai Land would have its grand opening before 2020 and become a major global tourism destination, though that deadline has long since passed, and much of the originally planned development remains incomplete, canceled entirely, or has been reimagined and rebranded as other separate smaller projects scattered across Dubai. Number 4. King Abdullah Economic City, $95 billion. Construction of this entirely new Saudi Arabian city built essentially from scratch in the desert is officially expected to be finished in 2020 according to government announcements. Yet, as of 2015, only approximately 15% of the planned development had actually been completed, strongly suggesting that significant delays well beyond the official timeline are inevitable and likely given the slow pace of construction. Named after the late King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, who ruled Saudi Arabia from 2005 until his death in 2015, The city is designed to be slightly larger in total area than Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States, and is ambitiously planned to eventually house up to 2 million residents in a carefully planned mix of residential, commercial, and industrial zones that will create a complete urban environment. Located strategically over an hour's drive away from the holy city of Mecca, King Abdullah Economic City is being developed with the explicit goal of becoming a major new tourist attraction and economic hub for Saudi Arabia beyond oil production. Elaborate plans call for constructing high-class international hotels, luxury private villas, prestigious international universities and research centers, extensive residential neighborhoods for workers and families, modern commercial districts, and a massive new international airport to connect the city to the world. The ambitious $95 billion project represents Saudi Arabia's carefully planned strategy to meaningfully diversify its economy beyond dangerous oil dependency before reserves run out, creating entirely new industries, sustainable jobs, and long-term economic opportunities in advanced manufacturing, international logistics, religious tourism, and higher education. The massive project is being built by Emaar Properties, the Dubai-based real estate development group that's internationally known for successfully constructing the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, the world's tallest building standing at an impressive 2,717 feet tall. Number 3. Kashagan Fields, $116 billion. The largest oil discovery anywhere in the world in the past 40 years led directly to the extraordinarily expensive development of the Kashagan Fields, located beneath the shallow waters of the Caspian Sea off the coast of Kazakhstan. Commercial oil production finally began in September 2013 after many frustrating years of costly delays and serious technical setbacks that plagued the project. Part of the massive construction and engineering challenge included building multiple man-made artificial islands in a harsh sea environment that's completely frozen solid for large periods of the year, making logistics, construction, and year-round operations incredibly difficult, expensive, and dangerous for workers. Repeated leaks in pipes and other serious technical difficulties caused by the extreme operating environment and exceptionally high pressures have caused repeated delays in both construction and operation of the project, frustrating investors and delaying expected returns. The oil fields exist under extremely high underground pressure, making drilling into them exceptionally dangerous and requiring highly specialized equipment and carefully controlled procedures to prevent catastrophic blowouts. Full-scale commercial operation was expected to start during 2017 and produce over 90,000 barrels of crude oil per day initially, with ambitious expansion plans to significantly increase production as infrastructure improved and additional wells came online across the field. Energy industry experts estimate the total production yield from Kashagan could eventually reach as much as 13 billion barrels of retrievable oil over the field's operational lifetime, representing absolutely enormous economic value and helping justify the incredible $116 billion investment despite all the setbacks and delays. Number 2. The International Space Station, $150 billion. The International Space Station orbits Earth at approximately 250 miles altitude, traveling at 17,500 miles per hour, and enables scientists from around the world to conduct groundbreaking experiments in astronomy, biology, physics, materials science, and Earth observation in the unique microgravity environment that cannot be replicated on Earth. Built initially on Earth starting in 1994 and then painstakingly assembled piece by piece in the hostile environment of space over many years, 14 different countries worked together cooperatively to complete this unprecedented international project, representing the largest peaceful international collaboration in human history and demonstrating what nations can achieve when working toward common goals rather than competing against each other. The main tools used for orbital construction were Russian Soyuz and Progress rockets and NASA's Space Shuttle fleet, which ferried massive components, essential supplies, and astronaut crews to the growing station over dozens of missions. The ISS was not inhabited by permanent crews until 2 full years into construction, when the critical Russian module Zvezda was successfully added to the station, containing pressurizing equipment, life support systems, and basic sleeping quarters for the crew. The station has been continuously occupied by rotating international crews since November 2000, making it the longest continuous human presence in space and an incredible testament to international cooperation and human determination to explore beyond Earth. After over 26 years of productive service, the ISS, one of the most expensive projects in human history at $150 billion, was originally planned to be deorbited and crashed into a remote area of the ocean around 2020. However, its mission has been extended multiple times as the station continues providing valuable research, and it now continues operations with plans to remain functional into at least the 2030s. Number 1. The Interstate Highway System, $459 billion. The most expensive construction project in the entire history of mankind, the Interstate Highway System in America. This absolutely massive network connects more than 47,000 miles of limited-access highways across the continental United States and took almost 35 years to complete from initial construction to the final connections. The monumental project involved creating entirely new highway routes through mountains, across rivers, and through cities, plus converting thousands of miles of existing roads to serve as modern interstate highways with controlled access, limited crossings, standardized design for high-speed travel, and consistent signage. The total cost to American taxpayers, a staggering $459 billion when adjusted for inflation. Work began officially in 1955 after President Dwight D. Eisenhower proposed the project as being absolutely crucial for national defense, specifically to help rapidly mobilize military forces across the country and evacuate major cities quickly in case of nuclear attack during the tense Cold War. But the interstate system delivered far more than just military benefits. It fundamentally transformed American commerce, enabled the massive growth of suburbs, revolutionized freight transportation, facilitated road trips and tourism, and fundamentally reshaped American geography and culture. The Interstate Highway System represents not just the most expensive construction project ever undertaken, but also one of the most transformative, changing how Americans live, work, and travel in ways that continue to define the nation today. From $22.4 billion to $459 billion. From tunnels under the sea to highways spanning a continent. From space stations orbiting Earth to artificial islands rising from the ocean. These 10 projects represent human ambition at its most audacious and expensive. Some succeeded brilliantly, transforming nations and advancing human achievement. Others struggled with delays, cost overruns, and questions about whether the enormous investment was justified. But all of them pushed the boundaries of what engineering, determination, and billions of dollars can accomplish. What do you think? Which project impressed you most? Are there projects you believe should have made this list? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this countdown, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more fascinating content about engineering, construction, and human achievement, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.